Police constable attached to the PSTEB killed after being hit from his service motorcycle this morning. Family of Carrie Ann Collins speaks with our news team following her passing yesterday.
She's gone, and it's so touching.
Now is the time for the government to realize what is happening and put a burn unit in place.
Still tonight, Jamaica recorded 4 additional COVID-19 related deaths and 74 new cases within the last 24 hours, taking deaths to 270 with a total of 11,443 cases. And Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Leroy Williams, reaffirms that the time for vending in the business district remains at 1 to 9 p.m. daily.
JCF, if they could just step up and assist us some more as far as the vending is concerned. I would appreciate if we could have some more boots on the ground.
Good evening. A police constable attached to the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, was killed in a motor vehicle collision after he was hit from his service motorcycle this morning on South Camp Road in the vicinity of the Jamaica Defence Forces headquarters in St. Andrew. He has been identified as 24-year-old Constable Fabian Morrison. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that at approximately 8:10 a.m., Constable Morrison was riding a police service motorcycle in a westerly direction. Upon reaching the intersection of Arnold Road and South Camp Road, a female motorist turned suddenly into the pathway of the constable, resulting in the collision. Constable Morrison was thrown from the motorcycle and received multiple injuries. A team of paramedics from the JDF assisted him to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he died while being treated. The female motorist is currently in custody and is to be interviewed in the presence of her attorney. In the meantime, the police high command is expressing condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Constable Morrison. The force's chaplaincy and welfare units have been providing support to relatives and colleagues of the constable. Chairman of the Police Federation, Rohan James, expressed condolences and great sadness at Constable Morrison's passing.
The Federation is today mourning the tragic passing of Constable Fabian Morrison. It is one that left us appealing to the traveling motoring public to be extra careful in using the road. Let alone that being said, it is with deep sadness that we express condolences to the family and friends and colleagues of Constable Morrison. It was indeed a sad moment for all of us that we have to face the reality of his untimely passing. He would have left an indelible mark as a young officer with just a few years service. And we want to assure the family members that we will be standing with them in this difficult moment as we all grieve together.
In a Mello TV news update, following the passing of Carrie Ann Collins, who was severely burned at her Kingston-based home as she prepared a meal late last month, our news team visited the family, who expressed immense gratitude to those who reached out to the family and offered their assistance. Now, in speaking with her mother, Delsita Anderson, she thanked the San Myrna Foundation and others who contributed in the attempt to get her daughter's life-saving treatment before her passing.
I want to thank Air Trinity, who come out for my daughter to help her, but she didn't make it. And I want to thank Georgia Hospital. And I want to thank the doctors them and the nurses them down at KPH. And I want to thank the people them all over the world, home and abroad, Europe, Italy, France, America, Canada, every single body, length and breadth, right across the world, who come out for Kerry Ann Collins and our mother and our sister and family and everybody who come on board and help with. I want to thank you very much. God bless you. I appreciate you help. Love you, love you, love you, love everybody. And may God bless you.
Ms. Anderson, expressing great sadness at the passing of her daughter, pointed out that the country's health care is lacking.
She's gone. And it's so touching. From I am a little girl, I can tell you, from Michael Manley days, to PJ Pattinson, to Portia Simpson. From a little girl, the health care is like this. I can't tell you about Michael Manley government. I can't tell you about Seago government. Jamaica health system is a mess. Totally mess. Every government who come on board, me not see them done. All them want for you to vote for them. But when God alone understand the burden. Everybody right across foreign country, length and breadth and Jamaica, reach out to me. It's only the two sides of the party, both Prime Minister and opposition. Nobody reach out to me. Harley, I'm pleading for help.
Carrie Ann's sister, Felicia Collins, in remembering her sister, said that her hope is that this will not happen to another person.
She come and she do her purpose, and she serve her purpose, and she highlight what she had to highlight, that there is no burn unit in Jamaica. She come, she serve her purpose, and she gone home. Now is the time for the government to realize what is happening and put a burn unit in place, because we cannot be living in a tropical country like Jamaica that every second somebody else catch a fire, caught on fire, and we don't have the proper facility in place to save that person. Jamaica is lacking so much things where the health system is concerned. They not even have wheelchair. When I go down a KPH and I see the wheelchair, I pure iron and nice the wheelchair I make. Pure iron and go. Pure iron and nice the wheelchair I make. They not even have incubator. I lost my baby 2 years ago. What they're really doing, they're not standing for the people. They're not standing for those who cannot afford it. What they're really working on, are they working just to better themselves and their family? Are they really helping Jamaica people? I don't know, I don't know, but me leave it in the hands of God. Me leave it in the hands of God, and we hope from this situation we really and truly can get a burn unit so that what happened to Kerry Ann Collins don't happen to someone else.
Stephen Josephs, project manager of the San Myrna Foundation, who spearheaded the donation drive to get treatment overseas for Carrie Ann, explained to our news team the extent that they went to try to get Carrie Ann's life-saving treatment.
I immediately tried to reach out to international partners overseas and trying to solicit help for Carrie Ann Collins. And then follow up the communication for the family, so with the doctors overseas and the doctors locally, so we could see a successful transfer to a different hospital in America. I got on board Air Trinity air ambulance to fly her free to do, and I've gotten some international hospital as well to take her in. But we were trying to do so on yesterday, which is Wednesday, and we got the terrible news that she didn't make it. I was working out the logistics Tuesday. They were ready. Everybody was ready to come for her here in Jamaica. But we got the sad news in the morning that she died. Right, so I would want to appeal to corporate Jamaica, to the government. Let us put in a unit and save lives and try to see how best we can honor Carrie Ann Collins' name. We will name the first burn unit after her carry on calling. So this never happened to another Jamaican.
In news from Clarendon, the police are still searching for the perpetrators of 3 murders that were committed in separate areas in the parish on Tuesday night. Now, in the first incident, at approximately 9 p.m., a public health worker was fatally shot at a shop outside his home in Denbigh. He has been identified as 45-year-old Marlon McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie served as a porter at the Maypen Hospital. He was shot multiple times in the chest by a lone gunman. No motive has been established for his murder. In the second incident, that occurred at approximately 11:30 p.m., a couple was murdered in front of their 3 young children in Hayes in the parish. They have been identified as 34-year-old Ashlatha Coleman, a cosmetologist, and her 55-year-old common-law husband, Delroy Bailey, a cook shop operator. Now, the police say the couple's 3 young children were not harmed by the armed attackers. A relative of Mr. Bailey said he was very helpful in the community. He recalled how he heard the news.
Yeah, I did last night, some soldier come the last night, and I had two never soldier around me yard. And my friend them and them come there. And I call my next cousin. But they ask me, my soldier never come in the leave still, I say, we child there. I say, you say, you gone to one party. And when I soldier man, I say, you know you what, mom? I'm lying in my room still, Soldier man, I'm never. My cousin up on the veranda. I say, time I get up and I come out, and I look and see. I see yard full of soldier. And I say, big man, you know shot? And I say, no, sir. And in the pan again, we charge. And my cousin I said, Charlo get shot, and I said, no Charlo. General get shot. And I said, what you say? I said, yes, then just kill General upon the yard, and them mother. Good brother follow me. And brother deserve this, sir. Trust me.
In other news tonight, the resident from Arnett Gardens who earlier this year recorded an expletive-laden video addressing Prime Minister Andrew Holness's introduction of the all-island curfew and who was later apprehended under a bed while hiding from the security forces was fined $60,000 or 90 days behind bars when he appeared before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court yesterday. The accused, 37-year-old Dane Mitchell of Penso Street in Arnett Gardens, was charged for breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act. The accused was caught on video on the streets of St. Andrew after curfew hours, stating his refusal to comply with the order that was imposed as part of efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19. Now, following the release of the video, Mitchell and 9 other men from his community were tracked down, arrested, and subsequently charged. Still making Mello TV news, Jamaica recorded 4 additional COVID-19 related deaths and 74 new cases of the virus within the last 24 hours. Now, this takes the country's death toll from the virus to 270 and the total of confirmed cases to 11,443. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the deaths include 2 men from St. Catherine, aged 57 and 67 years, and an 89-year-old man from Westmoreland. A 73-year-old woman from St. Catherine, whose death was previously under investigation, was also counted among the deaths. Of these 74 new cases, the ministry noted that there were 31 males and 43 females ranging in age from 4 months to 97 years. The cases were recorded in St. Catherine with 15. St. Thomas and Manchester recorded 11 cases, Kingston and St. Andrew 8, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and St. Anne 6 cases each, Clarendon 5, St. James 3, while Portland, St. Mary and Hanover recorded 1 case each. The country also recorded 132 recoveries, taking the total of recoveries to 7,522. Now, in a Mello TV update, Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Leroy Williams, reaffirmed that the time for vending in the business district remains at 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. daily, which he says is sufficient time for business. The mayor, who was speaking at the Municipal Corporation's meeting earlier today, asked that the police assist by having more foot patrols in areas where vending is taking place.
Definitely, we do have a problem with vending. And so I'm going to ask the JCF if they could just step up and assist us some more as far as vending is concerned. I would appreciate if we could have some more boots on the ground. The vending time is from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. with an hour to pack up and go on the yard. And that is before the curfew time at 10 p.m. So that is 8 hours for vending. And even if a vendor was selling a trailer, it could be sold within the 8 hours. So that is enough time. I will give concession for Christmas Eve, that is December 24, 2020, Christmas Day, December 25, 2020, and Boxing Day, December 26, 2020, and New Year's Day, the 1st of January, 2021. Vendors can come out on those days at 10 a.m.
Commanding Officer for the St. James Police Division, Superintendent Vernon Ellis, in addressing the Council, pointed out that during this holiday season, there will be a new deployment of police officers within the town.
The festive season that we are up on now, we the police refer to it, security forces refer to this as the Yuletide season. Criminal elements tend to come out like cockroaches and commit acts against the citizens. The increased levels of commercial activities in the major towns will see new deployment, and for some of you moving around, you might have seen some new officers in Red Sea across all of those commercial spaces from Fairview, Sam Sharp, Barnett Street. We have improved the level of the quick response teams inside of the space, and it's aimed at making the space safer for the period. We ask that the citizens just bear with us as we go into our next week heightened operations tempo. The practice will see a lot of road policing and may cause some delays as we implement a new plan to keep the city safe. The plans afoot will be aimed at targeting these members of the bad breed gang, the G-City, and the Walter Mees.
Superintendent Ellis, in his remarks, also thanked citizens of Montego Bay for their assistance to the police force.
I want to use the opportunity to thank the citizens of Montego Bay for the overwhelming support that they've given to the security forces in the year 2020. Where we are, we're at a significant point in the nation's law enforcement trend. You realize that St. James is one of the trending divisions that they are trying to copy and replicate most of our best practices in terms of our intervention or quick response teams, the use of DNA evidence, and quite a few other things. But, I want to take this opportunity to thank all the citizens of St. James for the wholehearted support that they've given to the security forces and their partnership in bringing this to a 17-year low in terms of crime.
In other news tonight, Minister of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. says the proposed amendments to the Rent Restriction Act will provide opportunities for more persons to get into the real estate industry. Minister Charles Jr., who was speaking at the Realtors Association of Jamaica's annual general meeting yesterday, pointed out that the government wants to create a better and a more judicious balance between the landlord and the tenant. The Rent Restriction Act, enacted in 1944, is being amended to strengthen the outdated provisions and to introduce new measures to better manage the relationship between landlords and tenants. It was last amended 37 years ago. He explained that the amended act will address issues including security deposits, recovery of possessions, and notice to quit. Minister Charles Jr. also said that the ministry welcomes recommendations on the issues and invited members of the Realtors Association to get involved. Continuing with the news tonight, the government is to roll out a program aimed at safely disposing of the millions of used tires generated in the country annually that will result in a reduction in costs associated with storing them. This follows Cabinet's approval of the National Program for the Environmentally Sound Management of End-of-Life Pneumatic Tires. Providing details on the initiative during a virtual post-Cabinet press briefing yesterday, Minister of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, Pernell Charles Jr. informed that the program, which started with a pilot last year, and explained the work that will be done in each phase of the national program.
Approximately 2 million of these end-of-life pneumatic tires are generated in Jamaica annually. We don't have a program focused on addressing the management of them, and so has started through a pilot last year with us seeing the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, along with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, collaborating with the Carib Cement Company to advance a program which sees the transportation and offloading of these tires at the Rockford facility for them to be used for alternative purpose. Phase 1 will see the disposal of the over 2 million tires located at the Riverton City disposal site. And phases 2 and 3 will see the development and implementation of an action plan to facilitate the ongoing collection and disposal of the tires at disposal sites other than those located at Riverton. In addition, we will be advancing a comprehensive public education and awareness campaign as a component of each phase of the national program. And consideration will be given to the promulgation of regulations under the National Solid Waste Management Authority Act 2001 to govern the management of the end-of-life tires across the island.
Minister Charles Jr. further pointed out the estimated cost to the government of the fires due to the end-of-life pneumatic tires.
It is to be noted that approximately 20,000 of the end-of-life tires are received at the disposal sites each month. In Riverton alone, we have 9,000 tires per month received, and that's the largest quantity in our country. The operational cost to the government as it relates to the negative impact of us leaving the pneumatic tires where they are is enormous. The operational cost for us to extinguish the fires is estimated at $553 million. It should be noted that in 2015, for instance, the fire at Riverton City disposal site alone cost the government $293 million. And that does not include the cost to us, the public health cost related to the increases in respiratory and other illnesses over time, or the adverse impact on the economy as a result of the closure of schools and businesses, particularly those within the industrial belt, as well as reduced traffic to our air and seaports. The implementation of the program then is certainly justified as it relates to the cost benefit for the country.
The minister also explained the environmental and health implications if the government doesn't do anything regarding the proper disposal of these tires.
Not only do we see the reduction in costs for the government, but when you look on the environmental and climate change implications of us not doing anything, it's just not a viable situation for Jamaica, particularly because we are a party to the Paris Agreement, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and as such we are obligated as a country and committed to progressively reduce our own greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, the uncontrolled burning of the end-of-life pneumatic tires, including potentially those stockpiled at our disposal sites, would only serve to increase our country's greenhouse gas emissions and jeopardize our advancement of the climate change agenda. There are several potential environmental impacts associated as well with the long-term storage of these tires at the disposal sites across the country. Compounds are found to be leaching from the tires, and it contaminates our soil, our ground and surface water, as well as the release of pyrolytic oils and other compounds due to the burning. Health implications as well are found. The round shape of the tires, together with their impermeability, causes them and enables them to inadvertently retain water and other debris for long periods, and makes them ideal hosts for flies, mosquitoes, and of course increasing the risk of vector-borne diseases such as dengue, chikungunya, and malaria.
Still tonight, the People's National Party's President Mark Golding announced that the PNP Executive Committee has appointed Keisha Anderson as its treasurer. Ms. Anderson, Mr. Golding said, joins the leadership team of the PNP with an impressive 23-year career in the financial sector, which includes country head for the JMMB Group and a CEO of JMMB Investments. The party's president, Mark Golding, said, and I quote, "The PNP is commencing a period of renewal and rebuilding, which involves attracting fresh talent at all levels of the party. It is important that we develop an efficient team to modernize the approach to political management, and Ms. Anderson's recruitment from the private sector indicates the priority we place on managing the PNP's financial affairs at this critical juncture." End quote. Now, Ms. Anderson expressed excitement at the invitation to serve by saying, and I quote, "I was raised in a family with 3 generations of PNP activists, so I welcome the opportunity to take the baton for my generation and contribute through the party to giving public service." End quote. Keisha Anderson replaces Lisa Hanna, who resigned from the post in November. And those are the stories making news. I am Shelley-Ann Hill. We will now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.